Hey, good morning, everybody. Just waiting for this thing to get going on my side. Usually I do the both on each side, but for some reason I didn't click that button this morning. So, all right, I'm at Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and I'm in my home studio right now because I got a bunch of people coming to the house. So if you hear dogs, I apologize, but it's important to be here.
Yes.
All right. So what's going on with you? Because you've been all over the place. I want to get in that first. Sorry, my background's not perfect. It's a corner of my house.
I was moving mine around too. So I was at Ryan Stewman's last week, and then home, and then I will be heading out of country soon. So.
Oh, you mean Mexico?
Yep.
That's like another United States.
I know, it's like Texas Part 2.
Yeah,
going to a buddy's wedding out there. So
that's good.
Wrapping up stuff today, and then head to the airport. Early flight tomorrow.
So. It's not in Tijuana, right? It's in someplace nice.
No, yeah, someplace nice. Adults only resort. A buddy of ours has got a timeshare or whatever out there where they go several times a year, so they set it all up.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Is it all inclusive? Did you say?
It is.
Okay.
Which that's the debate. I haven't been to Mexico in so long. In Jamaica, you're not allowed to tip. Like it's very different there. The people go to school to work at the resorts. It's a very prestigious job to have. And so if you tip, they get offended by it. So I was thinking earlier, I was like, how many ones do I need to get, or fives, or what do I need to get cash for? So that's what I'll be doing after we get done with this.
So going to a strip club?
Yes. No, I was thinking drivers and, waiters, waitresses. So
are you supposed to tip?
See, that's just it.
I don't think you are. You put it on your room. No, put it on your room.
But at, Jamaica, like I said, you weren't allowed to. So.
Well, it's like Spain. They're not used to it.
Right.
When we were there, they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, in Britain, it was buy a pint for the bartender. You don't tip them. You just say, hey, can I buy you a pint? And if they say yes, then they have themselves a beer. If not, then they'll just take the cash.
I was going to say, that's a lot. I've had 10 pints in the last 2 hours.
I hate my customers, but I love them.
Anyway, so we've both been working on our stuff to do, right? With posting consistently, trying to make sure that we do exactly what we're supposed to do. And I'm finding, like, because you were talking before we started, how you have one that did okay on TikTok, but did really well on YouTube.
Right.
And again, I think it has to do a lot with what you're putting on there for the, not the taglines actually. And do you have any of that in the title also?
So like we've been talking about, what I took was Opus clips. I went and did from one of the events I spoke at earlier this year. And I just grabbed one of the Opus clips, and the title of it was, and it does come up with some pretty creative ones.
Yeah, you got to be careful because sometimes it's so far out, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. This one was Uncovering Hidden Personality Traits, the Secrets Behind Nostril Size and Risk Taking. And that one hit, and it's at a 2,500 on YouTube right now, and it's 300 on TikTok. So it just, you never know.
Right. You don't ever know.
Yeah.
So. And that's, well, and again, for some people who post all the time, they're like, that's all you got.
Yeah.
Right. And so yeah. And it's important to be consistent and keep doing it. And then eventually it will pop. But the big thing is just the way you came across on YouTube is you need a short. So if you look at the Mr. Beast, he only does 50 characters in his titles. And maybe you need to work on that for the title. Cause I mean, some of these titles it comes up with is like, what, that is really long. And so I did one yesterday because I've been talking a lot about this program that Fannie and Freddie came out with, or actually Fannie did last week, where you can buy a 2-unit, 3-unit, or 4-unit if you live in one of them for 5% down versus the 15 to 25% down that it used to be. And I put that. And so what I did differently is I put it on TikTok one way, and then I made it into a question on YouTube. Because that's, what's the least amount down for 2 to 4 units? And that took off. So I think that we have to do is just, and also I only clicked on the tags that were really the high five. So if you go into, you have TubeBuddy, right? If you go in there and you can go down the tags, you can see it tells you how popular they are. And I've been getting a lot of stuff from people who go, could you imagine your podcast take off if we only do the top 5 tags? Well, thank you for that. And I'll do that too and see if that works. And so it's been working because I usually put so many tags in there because you have the 500 character, whatever the thing is. And
Right.
I think it's more important to pick the top 5. And that's just me. And I haven't heard this from anybody else. And I haven't been watching a lot of other people's stuff, but that's what's been working for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that, and also with our lives, if you
Mm-hmm.
can put them, like if you go live on YouTube, I'm putting our stuff in there ahead of time, like tags and different things, and seeing if that would make a difference.
That's a good question.
And it has.
What we were talking about before is going back from last week, consistency, right? So the Master Ken, other people, the event I spoke at last week, the guy behind it, his entire thing is what they call BYM, or build your machine. And the number one thing is, are you posting daily? How many different platforms are you posting to? He's a big believer in, you need to post it organically from the individual, even if you're copy and pasting. So he goes into Evernote, types up his comments, right? Goes to each individual app, uploads the picture, copy and paste it, sits there for a second, because he believes that the algorithm knows if you copy and paste too fast, then it downplays the votes, or how many people can see it. So he purposely sits in there for a few minutes, then he'll move on. So, TikTok, then Instagram pushes to Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. But that's his entire thing, is BYM, build your machine, is posting daily and posting your content in such that when you have the description, people have to click on the see more. So make it more than 2 sentences. You want it to be just enough that people have to click to see more, and then you'll get extra credit for that as well. Now, who is it? I think Henry may have told us or found out that one of the rating systems for one of the platforms, I don't remember which one it was, is if you get a view, it's worth like a point. If you get a like, it's worth 2 or 3 points. But if you get a comment, it's 5. And if you respond back to the comment, then you get even more. So it's not just putting it out there. Make sure you're engaging with the people who are engaging with you, even if you just go and like their comments. And look, we all hate haters, right? But if they type something, you put a response in, they're actually helping your algorithm by putting a negative comment that you can then respond back to, instead of deleting it, which is human nature. Now, if it's makes no sense in the world, or it's somebody trying to promote their own website or whatever it is, delete that shit.
Or hide it.
But if it's something, you can answer.
Hide it.
Oh yeah, you can hide it too.
Still, because then it still count. They just don't know it was not taken. It was taken down. And that's like, if anybody makes a post, something that you don't like, instead of deleting or whatever, just hide the comment. They still see it, but nobody else does.
Gotcha. Apparently I got new lips today. Okay.
No, I'm surprised that we haven't heard a dog bark yet. It's just, we're making some, moving stuff around in the next, I have no idea when my industry's going. We're in 1979 right now. So if you look at that, in 1980, it was the worst. The rates, let's say the values were so high and the rates were so high, it was so unaffordable that they didn't know how people were able to afford. And that was 80,000.
Wow. Yeah, I talked to a guy that's based out of Canada that met through one of the same masterminds we go to. And he said right now it's bad. People can't afford housing, can't afford cost of anything. Inflation's going up, rates are going up. And he's up in Canada. He just said, not good.
Well, what's nice about Canada is they allow you to take your mortgage to your next house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called plotting, or I forget exactly what it is, because I've seen these words out there. People are, can we do? No, it's in Canada that they can do that, where they can take that mortgage and attach it to the next house. So you can take your low interest rate and take it with you.
Okay. I was going to say, what's the purpose behind it? That makes
the low interest rate, and then you make the difference on it, because everybody's trying to get people to, and I know we're not going to talk about mortgages, but everybody's trying to get people to assume people's FHA and VA. The problem is the house values have went up so much over the last 2 years. There's just such a huge gap there that you have to make up. And you're going to do a second at 11%. And then you look at it, doesn't make sense. So just redo the new one and refinance later.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, back to what we're talking about. Yeah.
Consistency.
Right. Well, because I know what you're saying. You're like, oh, we'll go on this all day. Consistency. Right. Ironically, consistency is what people consistently talk about.
Yep.
And the people that are out there, because you never know what will hit, what will take off. And people get used to seeing you. So, for example, why do we do the lives on Tuesday and Thursday when we could just pick random days? Is people like to look for consistency. You know, our buddy Joe does war games on Wednesdays. And when he doesn't do it, it's a replay, he'll get hit up by a lot of people going, hey, is it live today? Or what is it?
Right.
And people have gotten used to, okay, at 2 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday is Joe's show, you know, but it's interesting when somebody takes a break from social media. I've noticed it. Like there was a guy that I met through Bradley and somebody else that just, he was at the same event that we were at. And this guy was like multiple videos, multiple times a day, and all of a sudden disappeared off the face of the earth. Versus, and so I'd pay more attention, like, well, where'd this guy go? Versus somebody who never posts, that never pops to mind. So it is interesting.
Very much so. I mean, because we are looking at, let me get rid of this that popped up on my screen. Because for myself, right, I was so consistent for a year because I had other people doing it, and then I stopped. But because I did that, I was able to retool and do it the way that I want to do it and make sure it's happening the way I want to do it versus letting somebody else do it who they're telling you, this is what you want to do. This is how you want to do it. And I didn't have the engagement that I have now.
Well, and things have changed, right? Like even within a year or two, do you know who Rene Rodriguez is?
Of course, he's in my industry. He's from my industry.
Okay. I figured you did, but I wasn't sure. So he had a media company that was managing his old, Instagram handle, which was, I think, Meet Rene or something like that. And he ended up getting rid of them because what they were doing is they were just buying followers. And he'll tell you that he announced this the other day on his live, so it's not talking behind his back. And he decided, no, we're getting rid of that company and we want to do organic growth through marketing and everything. And that's what somebody else was mentioning the other day. It's now, if they realize you're buying followers, not only do you lose kind of public sentiment around that also, but the platforms are paying attention to, are you really growing with real people, or is it bots and people who will like things for a short period of time? Then you're losing hundreds or thousands of followers every week or month.
Right.
And so even with you resetting things, maybe that's what's needed now versus what it was before. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and now it's a lot harder to get organic growth, and so that's why a lot of the platforms are like, hey, boost your posts, pay us, and we'll throw it out to everybody. Instead of it organically doing it, we're gonna just pay us to do it, and we'll get it out there for you. Yes. And it works really well. I know there's a guy here in town who's he's not as like me, but he tries to be, and he's all his posts on TikTok's got 15,000 people and I was like, okay, I know exactly what you're doing. You're paying coins and you're buying these people to be seen on it. You're paying $10 a day for 5 days to get these views. So you're paying $50 per post to get the views that you want because you don't have them normally. I get that. And the moment you stop though, then you don't have those until unless you actually come up with something people want to do. Like I still have that one of mine that's still going and I keep getting comments on it. It's like, God, when are you going to die?
Well, and that's one of the things that Ryan teaches though, is when it starts dying, go back in and put a fresh comment in as you, right? And it'll kick it back up again. And this is more important in Facebook because Facebook legacy, when you put something on a new comment and it brings the Facebook algorithm back to, presence of mind. So they'll go back into some of their more, some of the better performing posts and occasionally do a comment to bring it back to life because you still get credit for all the previous commentary and things that were there as long as it keeps going.
Right.
So you don't want that one to die. As a matter of fact, you just want to help push it along. Like Weekend at Bernie's, drag it around forever.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've had a lot of people reach out and go, hey, we want you to do this or that. And then, I had a couple come back and say, well, after fun, it's like, okay, you don't understand. I had an anomaly that changed everything and then increased my people connecting and everything else. But you need to have a 2% engagement across the whole thing in order for a lot of these people, 2% or more, to want you to do stuff for them. And that's if you have a lot of followers, that means you got to get a lot of engagement.
That's the whole thing, and more than just likes. And it's interesting because if you know that they're suppressing, not everybody that follows you sees your stuff. So then it's okay. So it's being suppressed, but you're still getting activity on it. It's hard to always determine, as you and I talked about before. It's so different. What will hit on one platform and die on the other is crazy.
Well, it's totally two different things. TikTok's all about hacks and getting pissed off.
Right.
I'm serious. That's just it. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It's like talk radio. That's why it's like, okay, if I really want something to go, I just got to say a couple of things and I'll go like, here's a hack. And, even though it's not really a hack, just the fact that you had that phrase in there is going to get it to go.
Right.
And I'm a hack, so I don't need another hack.
But you're a consistent hack, which is the important part, right?
That's right. But I mean, the consistency is you need to come up with it. So get a system that allows you to put stuff in it every day to post that. And what I've been doing, I went back to the one thing I did like what the last company did for me was on Tuesdays and Thursdays, one day is reviews and one day is quotes. And it's usually my quotes. And so I came up with these stupid ones recently. It's like everybody wants to see the reals you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because that's really everybody wants to see your video, period. Right, and that's right. And so I mean, it was a play on words, and it worked, but it was kind of corny. And I've done a couple of them like that, which and it's just. But I have that consistently going Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I have this. I used to never post about stuff like them in the mortgage industry, what I do, the type of stuff we can do. I just started doing that. Just put it all out there, retooled what they said. Here are some, and did that. And so I'm booked out because, like Rob said, he's out 6 months on his stuff. Well, there's a lot of stuff that is evergreen, but a lot of stuff I deal with is like today.
Yeah.
I don't want it out in 5 days from now. I was the first one to talk about that Fannie and Freddie thing last week, and those went really viral. And then all of a sudden over the weekend, I start seeing people talking about it. Right.
Yeah.
So I want to be the first out there, kind of like the NBC, and truly what I talk about today on my show in the morning, I want out there this afternoon. And it's really hard to hire somebody to do that.
That's with the industry that you're in. Like you said, the days can make a difference, and you could take it to other realms, right? Stock. Well, if you're looking at a stock tip that's 6 months old, it doesn't help you, right? And the same thing. So many things are changing in your industry now. For some people who they're just content creation educators, Jim Quick, right, as an example. Well, he just talks about memory. There's no, you better get his memory course today. No, he's going to be out there. He's got his products. You can go buy the products whenever you want. Something like you, where every day the interest rate programs are going on, things like that matter. The content has to be relevant, or else it doesn't help you. Somebody could watch, like I said, a video from 6 months ago. You were talking about a great program. They call you up today and you can't do it. And now they're upset, right? So you need time is of the essence for you.
Right. Well, there are some evergreen stuff I can post, and that's what I've done on my YouTube channel with certain things like reverse mortgages and other stuff like that. And that's what you want. You want to get evergreen out there. So it's there constantly, but you really want to do the shorts. I'm telling you, I've gotten more engagement and more subscribers ever since I've been doing the shorts the way I've been doing them. So, and again, we're nobody. Right. We're just trying to get, just like most of the people who are going to watch this, we're just trying to get more engagement and more stuff to help build our business. The whole purpose of doing podcasts isn't to become famous. Oh, maybe for some people it is, but most of the time it's to promote your business. Right. Yeah, and that's also
get customers at the same time.
Yeah. And that's all social media is. I mean, yes, there's that few people who are so huge. I mean, if you look at the top, 20 people, what they're making, Logan Paul and all those other people, Mr. Beast, what are they actually giving you besides just entertainment?
They're not. It's people have moved away from it, right? So we talked to somebody the other day who was at the event I was at. They got rid of all the TVs in their house. The only thing that they'll listen to is podcasts. So they get rid of, I take it back. They have physical TVs, but they get rid of every subscription except for YouTube. And so they'll watch podcasts, and that's it. That's all that they will allow into their lives right now. And somebody asked me the other day, "Oh, what kind of music do you listen to?" I was like, "Ooh, I don't." So I still listen to the same crap I've been listening to forever, because what I'm usually listening to is either a podcast or an Audible book when I've got my headphones in.
Well, my kids listen to everything I listen to because it came back.
Right.
So, right. And the 80s were the greatest music anywhere, not the pop stuff, the other stuff. But yeah, it's just, I don't listen. I mean, I take it back. If I'm in my last studio, I have the 2 offices in my office. When I'm in there, I hit it. When I'm really working, I have music going.
Yeah.
Because I can't listen to something else as I'm focusing on doing other things.
Yeah. Well, it's like me. I get up and I have to go work from Starbucks in the morning, because if I have distractions, I can focus. But if I have nothing to kind of like moving around me or anything, then I get distracted. So like working from home, some days I'm like, yeah, for like 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. Oh, I'm gonna go do that. It's kind of funny, but I do the same thing. I listen to, I guess, listen to music. Like Black Violin is one of the ones I like to listen to in
I
the
have no idea
background.
who that is.
They're two guys that basically electronic violins, but then there's all other artists are there as well. But it's all music you've heard, but with no words. And so you recognize the song, but there's no lyrics to it. So it's just kind of, I can run it in the background the whole time.
Oh, what a day.
Yeah. But
all right. So go ahead.
I was going to say back to consistency though.
Yeah. And I said, so I'm very consistent.
Exactly. The question that people have that nobody really seems to know the answers to, I talked to Joe about this today, and you and I have talked about it. Some people use a scheduler. I forget, are you using one right now or no?
Yeah, I am for some stuff.
Right.
What I'm using it for is the mortgage stuff that talks about, just the actual pictures, and it has information on it. That's all I'm using it for. And then my quotes and my reviews.
So I've noticed I've been playing around different apps. So I was in CapCut yesterday, and it'll say, do you want to send directly from CapCut to Instagram, TikTok? I don't even remember who all it was. Opus Clips, same things. Now, does Cast Magic ask you if you want to send it directly, or do you have to?
Cast Magic is just the words.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So it's not the video. So Opus Pro, you can, but it's still, all it does is it uploads it for you, and then you have to go in there and do everything.
So you still have to. That's what I was going to ask. I haven't done it.
I did, because I did it originally, and then I couldn't get my Instagram one to work, but the other one I did. And
sorry, I'm trying to export one in CapCut so I could remember what all it says it'll send it to. I know it looked weird. It's like, oh, what does he have on his phone? He's hiding. I just
I had something pop up as a text I was trying to get rid of, because the only thing about having my Apple on this big monitor is everything's up, and then but no, it's all it was doing, instead of downloading it and uploading it, it just automatically uploads it for you, which is one less step.
Yeah. So if you go to CapCut, it'll say, do you want to send it as an Instagram post, a story? Do you want to go to WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok? Or you can hit other and then try and send it through other ones as well.
How do you like the CapCut?
I found the phone version is super easy to use. I fumble around like a 2-year-old in the desktop version. And I don't know why. The phone one's super easy, super simple. And so I love using that. And you can go in and easily add pictures, things like that. So I'll basically go into Opus Pro to cut up the talk. And then if I don't like the icons that Opus Pro throws in there, or I want more than the basic keyboard icons, then I use CapCut after that. And since Opus Pro already did all the captions, all I'm doing is adding in stickers or adding on a trailer video or something like that.
When are they going to add the extra film in there? What's that called? B-roll. Yeah. B-roll.
I got an email from them today from Opus Clips, and I have a meeting scheduled with them on, let me see. Where is her? Here we go. Libby from Opus Pro. So I will be meeting with her on Wednesday, October 18th, and they're supposed to ask, like, what things do you want in there? So I'll be able to answer that.
Yeah, because I saw their thing, and they were saying they're going to have certain things, but because they asked me, how would you like to see the B-roll, and I told them how I wanted it, but I haven't seen that it's been done. And because that would be, because the one thing about engagement when we're doing this is you have to look at what your engagement is analytically on all this stuff and see where people fall off. Where does 50% of your viewers fall off? Right then and there, you need something changed, either a different angle of a camera or a B-roll, something.
Opus does some pretty amazing things, right? It's interesting though how sometimes it zooms in on some of my videos and makes it grainy and hard to see. Like the one I posted yesterday. I'm not going to watch the whole. I'll make you watch the whole thing. I'm just showing an example. It zooms in on this lady's face instead of the whole stage that we were up there, and that wasn't the way it was done in the video. So AI is getting there, but definitely still has some of its problems.
Well, it wants to, because if you notice, a lot of people have done that in the past that wasn't using Opus Pro. They go directly that big on the face and then back away. The dude from Las Vegas, who is the food critic, where he'd go in and grab the food, and you haven't seen this guy? He's so huge, man. He would go in, he would just rate different restaurants. And he would just do it on his thing. It was quiet. It wasn't like he was trying to do anything. And he would help so many restaurants by reviewing their food, change their lives and everything. And so he was doing it. Well, that's how his stuff was. You'd be there eating, then all of a sudden it went right to his face and then back away. I think that's just one of those things they're talking about. Get that pattern interrupt in there some way.
And I know we're going a little too deep on Opus. I wish there was
I'm just talking pattern interrupt. I don't care how it comes. Yeah.
I wish that in Opus, when you're saying, hey, I want to see a different format, that you could see it without having to save it and then see if it works, like a preview. That'd be something that'd be nice for them to add as well.
Or be able to add more words, like it would give you the words, because they only go so far, and then it's like, okay, you got most of this stuff I was talking about, but you didn't get this other part, and I can't grab another one and put it with this one. Wish you could go copy and paste those words in. I know, and actually say the words, because you can add words, but you don't say those words. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think of what else I saw. The other day, it was putting some things together that made it sound like I had ADD and Tourette's at the same time. Because they'd be like, oh, if you look over here, well, so then what? Shit. So I'm like, how did it put those together in the video? Because it literally sounded like I have Tourette's and ADD all at the same time.
What are you going to do?
Oh, now, okay, back to consistency. When you put one up, I know you do TikTok and YouTube, Instagram, I'm assuming. Are you consistently across LinkedIn and everything else too, or no?
I have not been posted on LinkedIn with my shorts.
Okay.
But I do post the other stuff there though.
You do.
So the stuff I do consistently, so I post 30 to every day, right? For those stuff. And then twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursday, I add to what I do with the reviews and the quotes that I come up with or that I've said in the past.
Yeah.
But I don't do the video, and then I do all my lives go there every day. And some days there's like today, there's 4 lives.
See, I need to get better about doing at least more than one a day. I'll have some downtime this week, so I need to work on some of those. Our buddy Matt, Mohawk Matt, he's strictly LinkedIn. I had to ask him, like, what do you do? Because on Instagram, you don't really put anything on there. And so that was one of the things that was interesting. I don't do Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Probably need to add that in just because it's popular right now, but that's one I have 0 on right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do? You just got to consistently get better.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you use Twitter or X or no?
Yeah, I post to it, but I don't really use it. So my daily stuff that I was talking about, 30, it's post there also. It's automatically. So and even to my Google.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the business thing that we do. So, but in my industry, there's a company I use. They have this whole scheduler that you can use, and they come up with the stuff that you can use, and they give you 3 different ones, and then I go in there and click a button to have AI rewrite everything, because I don't want the same as what everybody else is going to put.
Sure. And go and personalize it once you get out of AI.
Yeah, exactly. And then because it's the same thing there's another company that does stuff for agents to post, and I just have them make a blog for me, right? Because it automatically goes as a blog. But then you got Rob who's like, well, you're not putting your SEO there. Okay, I know. Which is it?
That's his area. What was I got a guy who hit me up the other day. He's like, hey, I want to work with you. I watch your stuff and I can create a whole year's of content for you. And I said, okay, how are you going to do the stuff I teach? Crickets.
Well, a lot of them they're like, you can come up with 100 hours of content and they're talking about using Opus Pro, right? Take a few things, cut it up, and then post it. Well, the problem is there's only a good 3 to 4 max, right? Then you get down to the 66 or the 70, and yes, some of that would work, some of it might not work, but it's just a matter of trying to figure it all out. and it's
Agreed.
not easy, but it is being consistent and doing it every day, day in and day out.
Yep.
Maybe you can always take the weekends off, but there are some people like on YouTube, there are some people only post once a month, and then some people who post, a couple, and that's because it's a whole huge video that they do. It's not like, and then you have other people post 3 to 4 times a day.
Yeah. So Bradley was talking about you need to post at least 3 to 4 times a day. And before Opus Pro, I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about for that? But now that you can cut up older things, I'm like, okay, I should at least get some days 2 a day up there. So like I did a post this morning because I want steel shots. I'll try and work on some of the other ones also.
Right. Yeah, it's just a matter of just trying to, because my biggest problem is the video I do. It's fresh. It's this. I want it today or tomorrow. I don't want to post because I don't want to post it out the next 6 months and it's not the same stuff. But you can make stuff that is evergreen. So.
Yes. Well, there are a lot of people are that way, right? Because they're not in a constantly changing environment. So if you have a set product, a service that's not really going to change, you don't have to. You can recycle. I know somebody who they've only really got about 90 days worth of content, and they just recycle it. They've been doing it for 3+ years.
Well, that's like all my, I have all these reviews, and I also have newer ones. But I'm like, what happens if I run out? Well, just go back to my 2 years ago and just repost them. Because no one's going to care. And same with my quotes. I have had so many quotes done over the last 3 years. It's like I can just go back and copy them and redo it. But it's not that big of a deal. It's easy to do. It's just a matter of time consuming. That type of stuff I can have somebody else do and upload it, and I just take care of the videos. My big thing is I want to do one, besides my lives and everything else I do, one, do one short a day. Yeah. And I find the best time to put it is like 15 minutes to 5 on all my stuff.
That AM or PM?
PM.
Okay. I know some people are that 5 a.m. club.
I'm up at that time, but I posted stuff in there that didn't do real well. And like I posted last night the same thing across all the channels, and my Instagram took off. I think I was like, for me, I think I'm at 5,700, $6,000, people viewing it and stuff like that, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's on Instagram. And then on, my TikTok, it only did a couple hundred, and then on YouTube, it's at 2,500 by the evening. And, it just depends. And I've had bigger and I've had smaller. And sometimes it's just, you got to go in there and everything I hear, it's consistency, see where it drops off, repost it, redo this. Because a lot of these guys who do these videos that are big and they get all this money, I said before, they're all about this one video they're posting, and they want to know where the drop off is because that's where they're getting their money from.
Right.
I'm an educational channel, not an entertainment channel.
Right. That's not your sole income. Yours is more of customer awareness. Now come work with me once you get to know and like me.
Right.
Which is weird because we don't.
They don't like me. So. Yeah.
Had to sneak in a Steve like comment in there, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
Back to the consistency real fast that's the other thing about having a book, right? Like if you have a book that's out and people can see it and you give it to customers, people can see your book over and over and over again. So why spend the money to have a book? Because it can bring you consistent leads in the right places, in the right hands. So it's not just, I know we talk a lot about social media, and that's because we're both actively posting stuff on a regular basis, but there are other forms of consistency as well. Physical mailers, I get them all the time from realtors. Right. Authors.
You're not going to get them. You're not going to get them that much going forward. So
that's a good point. Last week at that event I was at, there was a guy. Now, of course, he just said this quote. I don't know if it's true. He said like every 10 minutes, another realtor leaves the market. Like just what's that?
We had 75,000 leave in the last year.
Really?
Yes. I don't know, divide that by how many hours in a year. Tell me what that is.
2,080. Yeah, because I was a technical recruiter for a little bit. Let's see. So 75,000. You said 75,000 quit?
Yep.
Yes, that's 36 an hour. Wow.
Yeah. So how many is that a minute? Divide by 60.
Yeah, every 0.6 minutes, somebody quits.
Every 6 minutes?
0.6.
0.6.
Yeah.
So a little over every 30 seconds, somebody quits, basically.
So that'd be let me see if my math is still right. 75,000 divided by there's 2,080 work hours. Oh, that throws off a little bit because that's work hours. Like
Right. I want the whole, you said,
yeah.
Well, there's 24 hours in a day, and there is 365 days a year.
Right. So we'll have to do the math. But it was an interesting quote. Yeah. I start getting into numbers and I start overthinking.
No, well, that just tells you, I mean, if you really look at the numbers of people who were in our industry and how many we really needed over the last few years, real estate wise, we had way too many, even for the volume, because during 2022 and 21, 22, even part of 20, the volume in 20, the volume was normal. Right. 21, it wasn't. It was half of it. 22 was even lower. And then now 23 is even, 35% of whatever your normal existing home sales were normally. And so that's a problem. It just makes there's just not enough volume to support. So everybody's getting out. So,
yeah. I'm watching people around here. One of the guys that we both know, his assistant left him to go into real estate, and was just kind of like, oof, I don't know, this is a good time to do it. And this was like 6 months ago. He just wanted to do something different. He's always liked real estate, but yeah, I just don't know that that'd be a career change I'd jump into right this moment, unless you have a lot of good connections for it. But anyway, all right.
So it's every 7 minutes.
Every 7 minutes.
Yeah. If you do the whole year.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So. Well, there's like 62,000 people turning, 62 every day or so many hours of the day. And I figured that. Yeah. So there's a lot of people out there. So.
Right.
Anyway. Go.
Right.
And the other thing is, the only people doing business right now that actually have to is people who are they're the divorce, death, and job transfers. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So, and that's less than 30% of the market on a regular basis. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for bringing that up and making me feel bad again.
No problem. I like to, impact people's lives.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Make it a great day. Thanks for being here. Brian, I appreciate you doing this with me. And if there's anything else you want us to talk about, just let us know in the comments. And if you like what we do here, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. We appreciate that.
Thanks,
Brian. Thank you. All right. Make it a great day.